Contrary to what many people think, Guam has actively pursued decolonization in the past. During the 1980s and 1990s, Guam's political status was at the closest to changing. This was through the 1982 plebiscite, the drafting of the Guam Commonwealth Act, and subsequent attempts to get the U.S. government to approve the act. This roughly two-decade effort to attain Commonwealth status was known as the Guam Commonwealth Movement. It's important to note that any change to Guam's political status requires an act of the U.S. Congress, basically meaning that Guam requires U.S. approval for decolonization. And unfortunately for Guam, in the end, the U.S. rejected every attempt by Guam to attain Commonwealth status. Pulan and the Guam Commonwealth Act was the name for a federal territorial relations act between Guam and the U.S. that would change the island's political status from that of an unincorporated territory to that of a self-governing commonwealth, recognizing the sovereignty of the United States of America. The recognition of U.S. sovereignty over the Commonwealth and closer relations with the U.S. is what distinguishes Commonwealth status from free association with the U.S. Unlike statehood or independence, Commonwealth status doesn't have precisely defined elements in its political relationship. Instead, the details are open to negotiations between Guam and the U.S. The aspirations of Guam for Commonwealth status are formalized in a Commonwealth Act to be submitted to Congress for approval. After several revisions and debates among the people of Guam, Guam produced what is essentially the final draft of the Commonwealth Act by 1987, which consisted of a preamble and 12 titles outlining the specifics of Guam's Commonwealth status. Commonwealth was the desired political status of Guam as indicated by the 1982 plebiscite and runoff election because it satisfied Guam's desire to maintain close relations with the U.S. while giving Guam greater self-governance from what the 1950 Guam Organic Act allowed. The Guam Commonwealth Act addressed important issues of Guam due to its unincorporated territorial status, such as the rights of full self-government, Chamorro self-determination, mutual consent, the application of federal law, the U.S. military, immigration, among others. Commonwealth was also supported because it was seen as flexible, as it was not considered a final political status, but rather as an interim status. This satisfied several supporters of statehood, as Commonwealth was seen as a stepping stone towards their desired final political status of statehood. Furthermore, the people of Guam witnessed the Northern Marianas successfully negotiated for Commonwealth status with the U.S. in 1976, subsequently gaining greater self-governance while maintaining a close relationship with the U.S. Thus, many people of Guam desired a similar status. The Commonwealth Act arose out of a long desire of the people of Guam since Guam formally became a U.S. territory in 1899 to achieve a greater measure of self-government and a change to their political status. By the 1970s, the unincorporated political status was viewed with much negativity as it constrained Guam politically, economically, and culturally, and Guam leaders took real measures to address the political status through the creation of the first Political Status Commission in 1973 and the second in 1975. These commissions laid out the key groundwork for potential future political status change. In May of 1980, the Guam Legislature passed Bill 417, proclaiming that the time has come for the people of Guam to choose their future political status. Governor Paul Calvo signed it into law as Public Law 15-128. This law established the Commission on Self-Determination for the People of Guam and mandated a political status plebiscite. In the plebiscite, as well as a subsequent runoff election in 1982, the people of Guam chose Commonwealth status. As such, the Commission began to draft the Commonwealth Act. The act was drafted during Governor Ricardo Bordalio's administration. The drafting process sparked intense debates, especially regarding contentious topics like Chamorro self-determination, the application of federal law, and the presence of the U.S. military on Guam. Achieving balance between the interests of Guam and the U.S. in the Commonwealth Act was crucial to get U.S. approval. If the Commonwealth Act leaned too much in favor of Guam, there were concerns that the U.S. might reject it. Even with these concerns in mind, Chamorro rights activists, most notably OPR, the Organization of People for Indigenous Rights, actively lobbied to ensure that the Commonwealth Act took a firm stance on Chamorro cultural and political issues, advocating for stronger language regarding Chamorro issues, such as Chamorro self-determination and local control of immigration. This resulted in a more favorable Commonwealth Act for Chamorros. In 1987, the people of Guam approved the Commonwealth Act. Thus, by 1987, a complete Commonwealth Act with the backing of the people of Guam was ready to be submitted to Congress for approval. From 1988 to 1997, Guam's delegates introduced the Guam Commonwealth Act as a bill in the House of Representatives in every consecutive congressional session. However, in a disappointing pattern, the bill faced rejection each and every single time, all dying in committee. The rejections not only ended the momentum for Commonwealth, but may have also contributed to Guam's political disillusionment regarding decolonization. The reasons why the U.S. rejected the Commonwealth Act will be explored in another video. The Guam Commonwealth movement marked the closest Guam ever came to achieving decolonization. While Guam fell short of decolonization, the persistent pursuit of Commonwealth from 1982 to 1997 demonstrated that, contrary to common belief, Guam was not satisfied with the political status quo and actively pursued decolonization. If you liked and enjoyed the video, consider supporting me on Patreon so I can continue to produce more Pacific Studies content. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, turn on all notifications, follow me on social media at PulanSpeaks, and a special Seduce Masi to Patreon supporters Puti'on, Dylan Sablan, and Jesse Babauta. Seduce Masi for watching, Guahu si Pulan, and Pulan has spoken. Esta